What if I told you one of the most emotional movies of the 1980s was made with child actors sneaking out to fairs, eating accidental wheat cookies, smoking burning cabbage, and getting screamed at by the director until they cried for real on camera? Stand By Me looks like a simple coming-of-age movie about four boys walking through the woods. But behind the scenes, the production was messy, emotional, unpredictable, and sometimes completely out of control. And somehow, all of that chaos helped create one of the most unforgettable films ever made. From the scene that terrified audiences but was mostly camera tricks, to the heartbreaking reason Stephen King couldn't even speak after watching the movie for the first time, the real story behind Stand By Me is almost as powerful as the film itself. So grab your flashlight, avoid the leeches, and let's go back to the summer of 1986. When Stand By Me was released, nobody expected it to become a classic. On paper, it sounded too small. For kids walking along train tracks looking for a dead body doesn't exactly sound like blockbuster material. Studios at the time wanted explosions, action heroes, spaceships, and giant special effects. This movie had kids telling jokes around a campfire. But what audiences got was something much deeper. The film captured childhood in a way that felt painfully real. The awkward conversations, the fear of growing up, the feeling that your friends understand you more than your own family ever could. All of it hit people harder than anyone expected. And strangely enough, a lot of that realism came from what was happening off camera. The cast was incredibly young during filming. Wil Wheaton, River Phoenix, Corey Feldman, and Jerry O'Connell weren't polished adult actors pretending to be kids. They were kids. And once production moved to Oregon, the adults quickly realized they might have underestimated how much chaos four unsupervised boys could create. Jerry O'Connell once snuck away from his babysitter to visit a local fair after being told he couldn't go. Instead of accepting defeat, he literally tied the babysitter to a banister and escaped. Unfortunately for him, the fair he wandered into wasn't exactly designed for children. At some point, he unknowingly ate marijuana-laced cookies and later had to be found by the crew while crying in a park. And somehow, that wasn't even the craziest thing happening. Back at the hotel, the boys treated the place like a giant playground. Furniture ended up in the pool. Video games were hacked so they could play for free. One prank even involved covering a car in mud before discovering it belonged to Kiefer Sutherland, the same actor already intimidating them on screen as Ace Merrill. Corey Feldman later admitted the movie exposed him to things he had never experienced before. Alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, total freedom. Looking back, it sounded less like a professional film production and more like a summer camp run by exhausted adults trying to survive. Ironically, despite all that chaos, director Rob Reiner was extremely careful about one thing: smoking. In the movie, the boys constantly smoke cigarettes while trying to act older and tougher than they really are. The performances look natural, but none of the kids were actually smoking tobacco. Reiner refused to allow it. Instead, the props department rolled up dried cabbage and lettuce leaves. That means every cool-looking cigarette scene in the film is actually a kid inhaling burning vegetables. According to the cast, it tasted horrible, bitter, harsh, and disgusting. The actors had to sit there pretending they were effortlessly cool while secretly trying not to gag from the flavor of flaming salad. It's one of those behind-the-scenes details that instantly ruins the illusion forever. But nothing in the film felt more dangerous than the train trestle scene. Even today, it's one of the most suspenseful moments in movie history. Four boys trapped on a narrow bridge while a train barrels toward them with nowhere to escape. The scene feels terrifyingly real. But movie magic was doing most of the heavy lifting. The train wasn't actually close to the boys during filming. A massive telephoto lens compressed the distance and created the illusion that the locomotive was right on top of them. In reality, the train was much farther away. Even more surprising, the kids were never actually on the bridge with the train at the same time. Adult stunt doubles handled the dangerous running shots. So where did those terrified expressions come from? Rob Reiner himself. After shooting the scene repeatedly, the boys weren't giving the emotional reaction he wanted. They looked relaxed because, honestly, they were relaxed. They knew the train wasn't near them. Finally, Reiner exploded. He yelled at them, blamed them for delaying production, and scared them badly enough that they started crying for real. Then he rolled the cameras. Those emotional reactions became the final take used in the movie. The fear audiences see on screen wasn't caused by the train. It was caused by the director.